and welcome. My name is Edith Mbenesi, and this is a program that brings you exclusive and trendy topics that range from health, politics, arts and culture, and education. But before we proceed any further, let's have the day's lineup. Ebola is back with a bang, claiming lives in most parts of the Central Africa. To be specific, the Democratic Republic of Congo. On a weekly basis, more than 24 people lose their lives to this pandemic. According to the Ministry of Health in DRC, the disease is termed to be a new version, and it was brought about by the Allied Democratic Forces, a notorious rebel militia group who slew 21 people in cold blood. Moving on, the world receives big news from the royal household as Prince Harry and Meghan are expectant of their first child. Now the baby will be seventh in line to the throne, and it is expected that he will be due during springtime. The couple received a bunch of gifts to welcome the yet-to-be-born baby, with Australia's Governor Sir Peter Cosgrove of Sydney and his wife Lynn being the first to gift the couple a kangaroo toy and a pair of Ugg boots. And finally, we take a keener and closer look at the book that was authored by two British Nigerian women, Yomi Adigeko and Elizabeth Oviembenene, Slay in Your Own Lane, the Black Girl Bible, that emphasizes on women empowerment and identity rights that are meant to discourage racism that is experienced by most Black women in the United Kingdom. Welcome back. Now today our main focus is going to linger around the conversation that has been brought about by the book Slay at Your Own Lane, the Black Girl Bible. Now the authors are two Black British Nigerian women, Yomi Adigeko and Elizabeth Oviembenene, who met in university and studied journalism and marketing respectively. Now the two 26-year-olds wrote this book with an aim of empowering and creating awareness against racism. For instance, the book in the first chapter opens up on matters dating, which is difficult for most Black women. The book was released earlier this year in July, with publishers and distributors fighting over it since it has made great sales. Now locally, we are not struggling too much with the same. As a matter of fact, we consider ourselves at a good place here in Africa, Kenya to be precise. A lot of women empowerment has seen most of our women secure prominent positions. However, this is for the lucky few. Young women, ages 18 to 29 are full culprits of the indecent lifestyle where they are dubbed slay queens come socialites. And this leads us to the question, is a slay queen a ratchet type of lady with poor morals, or is she an elegant lady who knows her place in society as well as her rights? On social media, I see Grace Mudhoni on Facebook who opines that women nowadays are losing their dignity and identity worse than how it used to happen in ancient times. Now, African continent-wide are guided by culture, and these so-called slay queens are making it hard for us to thrive as an African identity. That someone somewhere should do something about it. Thank you very much, Grace Mudhoni, for that comment right there. Now, moving on, we are going to have a comprehensive feature that's going to be done by Faith Jelegat.
The modern woman has evolved over time, from being cast under the shadow of the male sex for a long period to being independent. They truly have mastered the drill of making their own choices. Shooting right, left, and center are campaigns of empowerment for the rights of the girl child, but unfortunately, these campaigns are proving to be sour.
Alright, guys, tomorrow my music. How can in front of people? How can you do that? Please.
Think about slay queens, a term that was birthed by a famous Black American musician and female influencer, Beyonce Knowles Carter. She used it to describe designer outfits, in other terms best known as dress to kill. Today, the term slay can't help but be accompanied by queen, which in return has birthed a culture that vividly describes a beautiful modern woman living a flashy lifestyle with social media being her day in day out hobby.
The moment you live to a certain standard, you'll be like, I have this, I have to get this type of guy, I have to get this money. So people are going to extremes to become celebrities.
Call them blondes, but they lead a very stable lifestyle, and money is the key to all happiness. But swimming in millions at the expense of other people's husbands or fathers is what makes the whole difference.
Sleeping is somebody who uses a lot of makeup, somebody who like feigning and faking her life, always pretending to be the way she is, but it's not her nature.
Reporting for iCage, my name is Faith Kibor.
Taking a look on more social media updates, I see Ian Conrad. I feel like slay queens are just good for entertainment. I mean, these girls have so much drama, but as a man, I'll be throwing my life away if I marry one. I think that slay queens can never settle for marriage. Thank you very much, Ian Conrad, for that. Brilliant piece right there, Faith Jelagat, and she is joining us live from Athi River. Faith Jelagat, what is the situation right there about slay queens?
Thank you very much, Edith Mbenesi. I am here at the Eastern University, and from my findings, the difference between a slay queen and a socialite is that a slay queen is somewhat culturally accepted as someone who's just classy and someone who's a boss in some way. And for the millennials and the youth, most of them have the assumption that many of these people are people that we can work with. But as for socialites, these are people that are more money oriented and they deal with people that sponsors. That is according to my findings here at the University.
Thank you very much, Faith Jelagat, for those details rather. Well, there is more to this than what has already met the eye. Now, this is because today on set, I'm joined by guests who will enlighten us about the slay queen culture and how it has affected marriage, or rather forced itself into society. We have Adrienne Mwanthi, a freelance model and a fashionista. Adrienne, welcome. We are also joined by Miss Mabel Odima, a sociologist and a lecturer at Daystar. Welcome, Mrs. Odima. And lastly, we have a Reverend Josephat Musili, a practicing marriage and family therapist. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us, and I'm going to start by you, Adrienne Mwanthi. You are chic and you are young and elegant. Tell us, how do you maintain yourself up to standard?
First of all, I am so keen with the image I portray to people, like how I dress. I'm usually so keen about how I dress. I believe that whatever you dress, it says more about how you feel and your personality. So mostly I love to dress in a way that is chic and elegant, and I'm able to do this because I work for my money, and so that I can be able to get such kind of outfits. Of course they're not just the normal average, yes, so I have to work. And I think it's because right from since I was young, my dad used to dress me up, and he used to tell me all the time that every time you leave the house, you have to make a statement. So I am able because I work and because I try to keep a certain image.
And lastly, Adrienne, how do you feel about marriage?
I think I am ready for marriage, but I'm not ready because you can never be too ready. But marriage is a commitment, and you have to stick to the commitment, and you have to communicate, you have to create them, and then you have to always meet the other person halfway all the time. So it's more like a relationship, but you can't leave each other. You know, relationship you can work out, but for marriage you have to make it right.
Also joining us is Miss Mabel Odima, and she's going to be telling us more about the slave queen culture. Miss Mabel Odima, why do you think there's a sudden drift in the slave queen culture that we're experiencing nowadays?
There's a lot of pressure, especially from the West. People are copying things without thinking how they came to be. You're watching artists flowing in money, in riches, beyond description. It's like people are living in heaven while they're here on earth. And now, looking at what's happening on the global village, it pushes the modern girl, especially in our setting here in Africa, to want to ape and do the same without even thinking what has gone into it.
And Ms. Mabel Odima, you also mentioned that we are also copying things from the West. Why do you think society is also allowing the same?
It's not just the Western culture alone. There's also an emerging, it's not a new concept by the way. It was there even in the olden days, but it was not common because family structures were intact. We were fairly rural and people were not so much exposed and we were fairly content. But because of now modernization, transfer of technology, the impact on the family and peer pressure, combination of those many factors bring about this concept into being.
And finally joining us is Reverend Josephat Musili. Reverend, you're a marriage and family therapist, and now we are experiencing the slave queen culture and it's really affecting marriage. What's your take on that?
Well, thank you. That's a good question, and this is a very difficult one. I would say that slave queen is a very new thought in the society. Still finding its place. From where I sit, with the little that I know about the slave queen, I tend to feel like just getting from the name, the first word slay is what scares me because it brings the aspect of slaying, killing. So this is a queen who has the ability and the potential to kill. I don't know. The only question that I will keep asking is what is dying?
And to add on to that, is there really an antidote or a diagnosis to this slave queen culture so that it can stop being existent among us?
I think that is now the big question for all of us. That's the question all of us should be asking. And I would say it's a reflection of the society. We can't blame maybe a certain group of people or not. It's actually where the society is. And the only cure to our issues in the society is going back to the roots. What did God have in mind when He was creating man and woman? At whatever season we are in, how do we ensure that we live for that very purpose? And until we get there, it will remain an unbeatable thing because so probably context will appreciate the slave queen culture, others will still keep disputing. But I know if all of us, men and women, would find our meaning and purpose in God, we will be properly directed.
Thank you for joining us today, Miss Mabel Odima, Adrian, and Reverend Musili. Now looking onto social media, I see more updates, and I see on Twitter Laura Nell, and she says that she totally agrees with Miss Mabel Odima's sentiments on how social media is to blame for the drift in behavior of the slave queens. They are simply independent people who made a choice because life is full of choices. Thank you, Laura Nell, for that. Welcome to our final segment, The Eye Master. People's beliefs and perceptions about slave queens can never be altered. Society has made fun of them with memes being flaunted all over the internet, yet a culture was slowly growing. Being a slave queen may not be such a bad thing. I feel that it all depends on the person's drive. Thank you so much for staying tuned on the Eye Cage. be sure to subscribe to our channel. Until next time, I've been your host, Edith Mbenesi. God bless you.